Joseph and his brothers. A story of betrayal, forgiveness, and God turning evil into good. Long ago, in the ancient land of Canaan, there lived a man named Jacob who had 12 sons. But among all his children, there was one who held a special place in his heart: his son Joseph. Jacob loved Joseph more than any of his other sons, perhaps because Joseph was born to him in his old age, a gift when Jacob thought his years of fatherhood were nearly complete. To show his deep affection, Jacob gave Joseph a gift that would change everything: a beautiful coat of many colors. This wasn't just any garment. It was long, richly embroidered, and vibrant with dyes that caught the light. In that time and place, such a coat was more than clothing. It was a symbol. It showed that Joseph was favored, set apart from his brothers who wore the simple tunics of shepherds and workers. You can imagine how Joseph's brothers felt when they saw him wearing that magnificent coat, day after day. The fabric of their family began to fray with jealousy and resentment. They couldn't even speak a kind word to Joseph anymore. Every time they saw those colorful threads, they were reminded that their father loved Joseph best, and the bitterness in their hearts grew deeper. But Joseph, young and perhaps unaware of the growing tension, made things worse. He had dreams. Vivid, powerful dreams that he felt compelled to share. One morning, he gathered his brothers and told them excitedly about a dream he'd had. In this dream, they were all in the fields binding sheaves of grain together. Suddenly, Joseph's sheaf stood upright, tall and proud, while his brothers' sheaves gathered around it and bowed down, as if in reverence. His brothers stared at him in disbelief. "Do you actually think you will rule over us?" they asked, their voices tight with anger. The dream seemed to confirm their worst fears, that Joseph saw himself as superior, destined to have power over them. But Joseph had another dream, and again he shared it. This time the sun, moon, and 11 stars were bowing down to him. When he told this dream to his father and brothers, even Jacob was taken aback. "What is this dream you had?" Jacob asked. "Will your mother and I and your brothers actually come and bow down to the ground before you?" Though Jacob rebuked Joseph gently, he kept the matter in mind, wondering what these strange dreams might mean. The brothers' hatred intensified. Here was Joseph, paraded in his special coat, claiming dreams of dominance. They could barely contain their rage when they saw him approaching. Yet beneath their anger was something else, a deep wound of feeling unloved, overlooked, less valuable in their father's eyes. One day, the brothers traveled far from home to graze their flocks near Shechem. Jacob began to worry about his sons who had been gone for some time. He called Joseph to him and said, "Go now to your brothers and see if all is well with them and with the flocks, and bring word back to me." So Joseph, obedient to his father, set out on the long journey, his colorful coat visible from a great distance as he walked through the valleys and hills. When Joseph reached Shechem, he found the fields empty. A man found him wandering and asked what he was looking for. "I'm looking for my brothers," Joseph replied. "Can you tell me where they are grazing their flocks?" The man answered, "They have moved on from here. I heard them say, 'Let us go to Dothan.'" So Joseph continued his journey, unaware that with each step, he was walking toward a moment that would transform his life forever. In the distance, near Dothan, his brothers saw him coming. That colorful coat was unmistakable, even from far away. "Here comes that dreamer," they said to one another, their voices dripping with contempt. And in that moment, something dark stirred in their hearts. "Come now, let's kill him," they plotted. "We can throw him into one of these cisterns and say that a ferocious animal devoured him. Then we'll see what comes of his dreams." But Reuben, the oldest brother, heard their plot and felt a flicker of conscience. He couldn't bear the thought of Joseph's blood on their hands. "Let's not take his life," Reuben urged. "Don't shed any blood. Throw him into this cistern here in the wilderness, but don't lay a hand on him." Reuben secretly hoped to rescue Joseph later and return him safely to their father. When Joseph finally reached his brothers, they seized him immediately. They stripped off that hated coat of many colors and threw him into an empty cistern, a deep, dark pit carved into the rock. Joseph's cries echoed from the depths, but his brothers sat down to eat their meal, callously ignoring his pleas for mercy. As they ate, they looked up and saw a caravan of Ishmaelite traders approaching, their camels loaded with spices, balm, and myrrh, heading down to Egypt. Judah spoke up with a new idea. "What will we gain if we kill our brother and cover up his blood? Come, let's sell him to the Ishmaelites instead. After all, he is our brother, our own flesh and blood." His brothers agreed. So when the Midianite merchants came by, the brothers pulled Joseph up out of the cistern and sold him for 20 shekels of silver. The traders bound Joseph and led him away toward Egypt, while his brothers watched him disappear into the distance, perhaps feeling a mixture of relief and unease at what they had done. Now they had to deceive their father. They took Joseph's beautiful coat and slaughtered a goat, dipping the colorful fabric in its blood until it was soaked and stained. Then they brought it back to Jacob. "We found this," they said. "Examine it to see whether it is your son's robe." Jacob recognized it immediately, and his heart shattered. "It is my son's robe," he cried out. "Some ferocious animal has devoured him. Joseph has surely been torn to pieces." He tore his own clothes in grief and put on sackcloth, mourning for his beloved son. All his other sons and daughters tried to comfort him, but Jacob refused to be comforted. "I will continue to mourn until I join my son in the grave," he wept. And so Jacob grieved deeply for Joseph, while far away in Egypt, the young man in chains was being sold again, this time to Potiphar, an official of Pharaoh and captain of the guard. Joseph's journey into slavery had begun, but unbeknownst to anyone, not to his grieving father, not to his guilty brothers, and perhaps not even to Joseph himself, this betrayal was the beginning of something extraordinary. God was at work, even in the darkness, turning evil into good in ways no one could yet imagine.